Hello, this is Michael for questions and answer part two. What makes you special? Well, not very many things actually. I'm kind of like the everyday normal guy, but I do have incredible memory recollection and I've had supernatural abilities manifest themselves way before any of this started. I like to think I'm unique and I'm the only one, and that makes me special. Number two, how can you explain certain voices and not others? Well, in the first protocol guidance, I did say they do take your memories, and in those memories, people that you're fond of or have left you in a marking response, they tend to use that same tone and pitch. So they aren't very smart entities, they're just basically a playback loop. And if you keep playing it back over and over, eventually you'll be able to disdain and retain what is actually smart, spirit, or evil lurking in the shadows. It's all about what you've done and what you haven't done, and your experiences, as well as what you remember. How do these entities know your memories? That's a very good question. I like to believe that we are being observed by a higher power, and each of us has the light that carries within God's eye, which is also the window to your soul. And with those being said, I believe that every movement, every recollection, every subjective thought, and objective impure thoughts are God willingly always in a process to be filtered. It just depends. Do you believe in yourself or do you believe in something bigger? Why are you in a mental relationship with God? Well, let me just stop you there. It's not a mental relationship, it's a physical, spiritual, and of course, loving relationship that is a higher power than me alone. Does God exist? I didn't really asked that question before, and I've been to rehab, did the 12 steps, and to give yourself to a higher power nowadays is quite literal, and to be seen in the light differently, to be thought as somebody with mental health issues rather than somebody with too much time on his hands. I think that yes, God exists. God is faith, and faith is a higher power. And even if you can't see it, doesn't mean it's not real. What not real do you question the unseen? Well, like I said, faith is not necessarily real, but you don't question it. You don't deter from your own path. And in a way, if you don't and you remain true to who you are, the essence of your selfless self, you are a special child and you are God given right to do as you please in your life, and God's plan will always coincide. Just depends from what perspective do you see it. And if you're questioning your perspective, then I recommend to re perspectify everything, because that's what changed for me. What are friends in high places? Well, the literal meaning of it is people that are in high up government, deep shadow, deep state, excuse me, shadow government operating the cloak of darkness, world leaders, titans, industry behemoths, all of them. People with connections, I guess, is more directed, friends in high places. And then you have the spiritual and mental health uh, radicalism, which is believing that they are above you when in reality they are just a figment of your imagination, or they're actually legit, real, and spiritual guidance, and God Himself will come in many shapes, ways, and forms. Who is doing this to you, for you, and from when? Well, it started way, way, way when I was young. I could do supernatural things, pick up things really quick on the fly. Um, and then started remembering a couple incidents that happened with me that were not, in a way, limited to what I was seeing then and there and believing, but it is what is now part of my story. And I think the who is doing this to you is a crossbreed of ill-conceived notions of money and stature if you were given the choice of power with my overall naivety and generosity of a soul and kindness giver. And from when? Well, when I spiritually woke up, I woke up as Abel, yes, the son of Adam and Eve, the very first one, or second if you like to think in those terms, because if Abel was the favorite, he was number one. So from when? I think from the dawn of our human civilization is more adequate. I can't really discuss timelines of stuff that is in perspective now, more and more truthful, the way carbon dating begun and when it stops. Did you make up these stories? I definitely don't have that kind of imagination. Some of the things were artificially implanted memories of things that I did in a prior life, past moments, and past families destroyed, ruined, taken too soon, people undercoming mental health and wanting to commit suicide or hurt others. And no, that's basically why I'm laying everything on the line and being so belligerently honest. Number uh, why were you falsely imprisoned in central mental ward? Well, I did associate those voices with a physical being, and those physical beings actually became more and more inhabited by the beings that were actually physically seen by me, and I thought I could hear through walls. And then thinking out loud and talking, not using my inner voice, I suspected that some people were in on it and were actually going balls to the walls against me. And when I questioned what I saw after many times of consideration, I knew I was right, just at the wrong time, and got attacked by my downstairs neighbor. And she was a mental case, ironically coming from me, but I know the difference. And then after that, they mandatory psych eval, and 1 year later, here we are, still in a mental hospital. Are you of sound mind? I am actually in the right mind, in the right time, just under worse circumstances are kind of long and dreadful, but the blues to the soul is still blue in color, and I associated blue with the positive and electricity, and here I am. Yes, the sound of mind is no, I am not hearing voices, and the drug abuse factor in any way. It kind of went overboard uh, because of drugs, I want to say, but not past usage of it. Or, like I said, when I woke up as able, a drastic change in my reality shifted, and I stopped using drugs and drinking and having short relapse on smoking cigarettes here and there. Uh, that's about it. So I think those are the people that are likely to have an easier ability to get possessed in a way if drug users and people with loner status and people that don't really have any connection to the community or things like that. So, in a way, secret societies are a way to be connected without necessarily trying to open your horizons on a bigger spectrum, but retaining those knowledges. Uh, I do believe drug users are more likely to be taken advantage of and to be radical and misjudge the current elements and being in an environment where it's possible to have all those factors come into mind. What missions did they make you do or believe? Well, that's a very loaded question. Let me start with um, it started with kind of how would I plan a prison escape for a couple people that will remain nameless. Then they asked me what would I do where the apartment complex I was living at when this happened. What would I do to make money? How would I make this money? And a lot of thought experiments, and then uh, things started happening when I was asked divinely to uh, overplay my GTA game and emphasizing a fictional dollar amount in monetary terms, which, in all fairness, kind of gave open shots to people associated with other people's extreme beliefs. And those, I just went along with it, not knowing really what was it at all for. And people that want money don't really have a dollar amount that adequately balances their retrospective views, uh, even if it's in political power or money is power or influence over power. Uh, those were kind of some of the things and missions that I had to, in a way, fulfill through mental training, also keeping grounded reality on my syllabus, which was also asked to read the Bible. Started with one of those kind of alien technology asking you to choose a religion. It starts a game where people have to uh, truth or dare or something like that. I do believe those are extreme scenarios that are actually becoming more and more frequent. So, in a way, I kind of almost put myself in jeopardy many times. Go to the airport, scream bomb, wait for a sniper to hit me, steal from a taxi that drove me, try to make an illusion of people's calm state of mind, and trying to make them disbelieve anything that is really real or really isn't there, but marked as and perceived as real. What else? What are missions? To kick down the door of a high level uh, drug supplier. What else? Um, that's all I have for the moment. Uh, Going back about a year now, that's a lot. How can you tell the difference between spiritual and AI? Well, in a way, spiritual is okay for them to use your voices of memories of people that maybe you've never met or you have, or you just don't know it, or they were so of faith that they kind of, have the ability to do whatever they want in lingering terms. Uh, if they live in the same dimension as us, then they have some physical laws to obey to, but if they live out of it, then they rely on people with dimensions and to implement those to their worlds, so they have some orderly and chaos, black and white kind of uh, But then again, if you go too far to the good faith and good side and the white line, like I like to say, then you have its opposite, which is shadow, darkness, and death, everything that relates to horror and evil and anything. Do you think you're a good side or the bad side, or what do you believe in? Uh, I just believe in myself most days. Of course, some days are harder than others, but I feel that having both sides is just a balance, and you need evil people to do evil things, and you can't rule those people out ever. And you always have to be on guard and think, okay, what would you do? And seeing how you can be your own worst enemy, but your best ally is seeing it from all perspective at once. And you always assume the worst to prepare for the best. So some of these modules are AI driven, and it's an ancient technology which is part of your brain and your cerebral cortex. And if you want to pursue some knowledge of that, uh, some of the chemicals or substances or even uh, air we breathe is amplified with such uh, coded infrastructures, I want to put it, and you can basically alter people's perception, visually impair them, uh, chemically induce spasms or muscle retention, but also it goes on its opposite side, which is used for the good. And if one side sways way to the left, then you sway way to the right. And in counterbalances, if you go way left, then you have to go way right. And then here we go. It makes you in the middle in a quadrant spectral. What is an AI module? Speech over text, time and time again. I've had people have different pitches, tones, things like that that I associate with hearing voices and not hearing voices, and things that are implemented in, let's say, a 3D video or a 2D image or a 1D soundbite. It still comes out 4 and 5 depths large or small, pixelation video, uh, thoughts that are reminiscing past events or altered events that you thought may or may not believe, and the extremes that those can go. It's both ways. If you had to redo everything, what would you change? Uh, not a damn thing. Maybe have a different downstairs neighbor, and everything else is my shit to be owned, and whose shit doesn't stink. Uh, I don't think that's not even feasible to believe in such things like that. Some imbalance was to be done, but it was taken out of context and out of terms, and being unable to verbalize or even have a discussion about mental healthness, then that's kind of why I started this whole YouTube chain and process and videos and podcasts on all platforms and even TikTok. And if it's to help one person have better sight and dreams, then if it saves a life, then my work is, repaid in itself. And everything I've endured is for me to keep enduring or to see it different in a different light, and to see your glass half empty or half full is kind of too black and white. I like to see it filling up, and it's slowly filling up, and slowly but surely I'm starting to make more and more sense, and I'm being more and more able to verbalize and state facts and factual statements and make it apply to the basic everyday person or the struggle that we all face day in and day out. How can you make sense of all the dimension, alter voices? And are you real or surreal? Well, let's start with the first one. Yes, I am real. I am a real person. Uh, this is kind of many videos I've posted, but it is all in retrospect of the last full year of taking notes and videos of everything, and being caught up on that kind of level is implying me making progress in my channel. So the more substance I post, the more sustenance guided algorithms can play a role. So in a way, as soon as I make heads or tails of a lot of these texts and increments of knowledge and deep, deep, deep attachment to a higher consciousness, um, it is all real. Just, some people have a hard time explaining and seeing the dimensions and seeing the fabric of our construct of time, of air, of coded worlds, of interventions, dimensions within laws of physics, and then you have those that don't obey to them, and those that are here, and then the people of faith. That's a completely different topic, and in a way, it all coincides. And what is to be Illuminati for you? Uh, it is the basis of life. It's the light. It's love. It's everything that recreates, procreates, and reprocreates in its own image. And every single time we've had a substantial leeway point, there's always something that I impulsively do and act, and sometimes just going with the flow, even though the flow might be long, it might be charged, it takes a while for it to decompress. So, how can you say you're Illuminati? Well, let's say in a three-spoke wheel, there's the Mercedes emblem, let's just say. It has three equal parts, and then each part is life, death, and rebirth. And using a cycle of pi, spiraled in or outward, kind of also makes you constructed to another dimension of time. Uh, it's kind of, hard to explain the dimensions of our universe when I'm still figuring out time loops and time checkouts and time zones and overlays on surrealness, and And being a true Illuminati member, I have seen physical confirmation many times. I've had spiritual consciousness exchange, swapping with some outer world bodies and other world bodies and in mention bodies and physical beings being connected to me, synchronized with me, intertwined with me, and keeping me grounded at all times. So that was the part two of questions of mental health and mental health awareness. This was Mike for Road to the Illuminati, question and answers.